wanted to bring the real California wine to the Philippines market and beyond. I just got stuck with a BFAT. So because of that experience of getting stuck and then wondering, do I want to expand my current business or do something that's more scalable? What scales? Technology, and that brought me to Near. And now I'm officially an entrepreneur and launching my second startup in 2 years.
But again, more importantly, it's about you guys. So hopefully before the end of the night, me and Dip would love to meet at least 10 of you guys from any of these companies here or just any of your own dreams and hopes. Please come up to us and talk to us. We're excited to meet you guys and hopefully keep in touch. So today we're going to be talking about why a Silicon Valley startup is launching in Manila. And by the way, just to start off, I hate the word startup, and I hate when people classify what we are all doing as startups. It's kind of a weird and like disgusting time right now in San Francisco where everybody comes there and they're like, I've got this dream and I've got this idea and I'm part of a startup community. Like, I like to look at it that every startup is just a small business trying to gain traction really quickly. You know, so we're just people with ideas. So we hate calling ourselves that. Maybe you'll follow our lead? Question mark. So why the Philippines? So statistically speaking, launching in the Philippines makes a ton of sense for any startup, or at least any startup in the space that we're in. So 98% of people have Facebook, which is huge. Comparatively, 77% of people in the United States use and have Facebook regularly. So I mean, that alone is just a kind of a big indication that what we're doing in this kind of social messaging space makes a lot of sense to be here. Thank you, sir. There's also 110% mobile penetration, which is incredible. That means that some people have more than one phone and they're using it regularly. So mobile is huge. I don't got to tell you guys that. I mean, everyone's got a phone in their pocket or maybe even holding it right now. And then there are 17 million people in Manila. 17 million people. That's huge. A gigantic number that we would love to even just talk to a portion of. In the Bay Area right now, there's about 7 million people and they're kind of disconnected in this large area. We just feel like the density of population here is exactly what we need for what we're doing in our idea, and we'll talk about that later. And also, it's the selfie capital of the world.
Yeah, can we get a little selfie here, guys? Because, you know, I've been waiting for this. Like, hold on. All right, guys.
Big smile.
Can we all get everyone in here? We got everyone in here? Okay. 1, 2, and go Kickstart.
All right. So it's a selfie capital of the world. Thank you for that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it just means that people are really up on technology, and we love that. And we feel that in the U.S. and abroad, Filipinos are among the most creative and innovative people that we've ever met. Anybody agree with that? Yeah? Yes. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, so... And to prove that... Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, go back? Sorry. And we need these creative people because these creative people, like you all in this room, are the people that are early adopters. They're the people that pick up technology and actually use it in different and new ways. So we need this sort of creative energy that we know exists here. Sure, it exists in other places in the world. Sure, it's in San Francisco. But we think here it's kind of a unique time and place for it. So we looked around and we were like, hey, who are these creative Filipinos, right? Have you guys heard of Bruno Mars? Kind of a big deal. Did you know that he's half Filipino? I didn't even know that until today. But that guy's a big deal. Next, there's, go ahead. Vanessa Hudgens.
You got High School Musical? I mean, some of you guys may know her because of Zac Efron. Be real. Yeah, be real.
Cassie. Yeah. Amazing. And then we have our very own Paul Rivera.
So have you guys heard of Katarina Fick? She co-founded Flickr. Flickr was originally, I guess, a game, and it turned into Flickr. So I just found out today that she was half Filipino, so it's pretty awesome. There's a female Philippine co-founder. So as you all know, Snapchat, I don't know if Snapchat's available here, but I hope it is. Bobby Murphy actually grew up in Berkeley. His mother emigrated from the Philippines, and he is half Filipino. Now a $20 billion startup, if I am saying it correctly. And actually not a startup anymore, they're a media company.
But also, just a side note, my beautiful wife, Josephine, is Filipino. American. Yeah. And she as well is a startup founder. She's got her own company. It's called Manservants. Has anybody ever? The funny thing is, I'm not joking, and I might be the first manservant that was around, just because if you're married, you know what I'm talking about. But the team behind her helped her build this company that essentially is exactly what it sounds like. You can hire a guy, a good-looking guy, tall, not me, a lot taller, who's well-dressed to wear a tuxedo, serve you wine, be at your party to entertain you. It's a real thing. Yeah, it's real.
No pictures, please. No pictures.
So here's my shameless plug. This is her website. Do we have time to play the video?
Yeah. You guys want to see the video?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Hopefully. Uh-oh.
Kickstart gas 24. Congestion? No? Okay, never mind. Okay, we'll skip it. Anyways, manservants.co, everyone.
Check it out. So my wife made this company. She created a video. It went viral. They got more than 500,000 hits in the first 6 months. Now they are all over the globe, trying to raise money, trying to do big things, and are talking to TV networks about possibly doing a TV show and that sort of thing. So again, Filipina entrepreneur, my wife, I know, lucky woman, right? Yeah. And so creativity in the Philippines makes sense. Am I right? You guys are a very resourceful and innovative people. But first, an observation, an example. So jeepneys. You guys are familiar with jeepneys, I'm sure. Does anybody ride them? No? Yeah? Did you ride them to get here? Anybody ride a jeepney to get here today? No? So you guys are maybe a little too high class for that, but I'm fascinated by these jeepneys. They're these amazing vehicles that are all decked out in, magical paint and all this sort of thing, and they're just these privately owned, correct me if I'm wrong, privately owned transportation systems, and they're pretty complex. Written on the side, it tells you where they're going, and I guess you go in there and you pay 6 pesos? 7.50. Oh, so inflation. To ride them anywhere, basically, right? And how many? There's probably, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of them in the Philippines, right? It's kind of incredible. That's pretty innovative, if you ask me. What's amazing is that right now in San Francisco, there's a company called Loop. They just got a lot of traction this year in 2015. And what they do is essentially the same thing as a jeepney has been doing since like the 1950s. So essentially, people pay money to get picked up and driven around a location around the city in like a loop. And they're turning it into a business and acting like it's the first time it was done, when you guys have been doing this for like more than 50 years.
Yeah, they raised $1.3 or $1.5 million in 3 weeks. One of the investors happens to be the founder of Blogger and Twitter, Evan Williams. That's not bad, right? Go jeepneys.
Incredible.
So Filipinos have actually been the innovators since the 1900s.
Or before, far beyond that.
Yeah. You got. I think we're in the right place.
And there are a ton of opportunities that I'm sure these companies at Kickstart are tackling as well. In infrastructure, medicine, finance, social media, medicine again, environmental and social issues. Am I right? So Filipinos are ripe for these sorts of innovations and creativity, which is another reason why we're glad to be launching here in Manila. But now let's talk about our product.
I want to hear about Near.
Our project, Near. Anybody want to hear about it? Yeah. It's about time. You gotta ease into it. But first, another story. I know, all this emotion. So in 2005, I moved to China. Has anybody been to China here in this room? It is a weird place, and it's okay. I can say that because my last name is Lin. I'm half Chinese. I don't look like it, but I am. I know. But I was expecting this beautiful, pristine China, right? Like read about in like fairy tales and stuff. And if you've been to China, you know that it's not like that at all. So I was there teaching English, and I'll tell you what, it looked a lot more like this. Yeah, Beijing. And it kind of felt like this, right? People walking around with masks and, kind of a weird place. And on top of that, it was really crowded. It looked a lot like this, which is just incredibly crowded. Um, it was kind of a sad place for me. So I go there and it was really crowded. There was a lot of pollution. I wasn't used to being in a totally foreign country to me. Didn't know anybody. Didn't speak the language. I wanted more than anything to meet people, whether they were local or foreigners or anybody, just to have a drink with, people to make friends. But I found it so difficult to meet anybody, to make friends. People were out kind of doing their own thing, heads down, you know how it is, walking on the street, just not able to communicate with other humans, which is incredible because in 2015, there's like so many new technologies out there, like the iPhone and everyone's phone and all these apps that are supposed to connect you, social media, Facebook, Twitter. But I feel like they've disconnected us more than anything. Dip, I think, has another similar story to share.
Well, this is actually the story behind Near, I should say. So I mentioned the wine the wine barrier that I hit as an entrepreneur, and so as I look to scale my next business, I actually started talking with my friend here, Paul Rivera, who I've known since we were 12 years old, and I said I want to do something that scales. He's like, have you looked at Japan? So I started looking at Japan. Like dating apps are huge there. People, there's a lot of there's a lot of articles coming out that Japanese people simply don't hook up anymore. I mean, I don't believe that, but I was excited about the Japanese market because of their consumers are like U.S. consumers on steroids. Like they're the biggest country in the world for in-app purchases, and I thought, well, what if we? The idea was that. What if we build a dating app where it was for working professionals, where only the top, only the people from the top 7 schools initially would be able to get in. We charge a high subscription rate, and I took this idea. I had took this idea, put together a deck, and that's how I found Kyle. I emailed Kyle through LinkedIn. I was like, Kyle, there's a Japanese designer that you know. Can you introduce me to her? I have this idea. And Kyle's like, hey, I can introduce you. She's cool, but I'm actually interested in the idea. I just left Twitter. And I was like, wow, perfect timing. I met with Kyle. He put together the deck for me in one day. And I went to Japan in September 2014 with a deck and a dream. And I went to Tokyo, and I even pitched Dave McClure, and he's like, literally, he's like, show me the app, and I will throw money at you. I will write you a check right now. And I actually saw a much bigger problem. When I landed in Tokyo, I didn't know anybody, nor could I even connect with the locals. There's so many people in Japan. It's so dense, yet I can't talk to anybody nearby. And I thought that's, we live in a socially connected world. Yeah, right. We don't. This is the problem. If Tokyo is so technologically advanced, yet everyone is so insulated, that is not a society that I want to live in the future. So this is the idea that I took for Near, and I came back to the Bay Area. I talked to Kyle. I talked to Mark, my CTO. I talked to Paul, and we decided to reimagine the Near idea. So we all remember AOL Instant Messenger, right?
This will tell you how old you are.
I'm 32 years old. I'm not afraid to say it. I had a shave today. I look all right. So when we first started using the internet, AOL Instant Messenger was how we used to meet new people. I used to talk to people all over the country. And there was something really magical about that. Something where it was sort of serendipitous, where I would, meet new friends, and I just happened to be online at that time. And, a lot of the new dating apps like Tinder and whatnot, they're trying to, basically force people to connect on a one-to-one basis when people are experiencing the first time the internet from their phone, whereas we experienced the first time on our desktop. And so why don't we bring this original experience that we had growing up, reimagine it for a whole new generation of mobile internet users? So this is where the original vision for Near came. So I mentioned earlier, even though we're living in a social media world, we can be more disconnected than ever. So I'm gonna pass this to Kyle, and I'm gonna have him introduce them.
So it's just, again, to Dip's point, it's just hard to meet people, but people want to meet. Have you guys noticed that? Anybody with me on that? Again, Facebook is for people you know. So like people that you're friends with or people that you meet. But what about meeting people that you don't know? Twitter is there. It's an amazing tool. It's for following people and listening to their inner thoughts. People you might want to know or might never meet, but would love to hear what they're thinking. But what about the people around you right now? What about people in Makati? We're in Makati, right? Right here. What about people in Makati? Like, what are they doing tonight? What if you could open up a tool that would tell you what people are doing and maybe where you should go and why you should go there? That would be pretty cool, right? So we're making a tool to see what's going on around you, which is just a simple premise, right? We call it NEAR. It's a location-based social discovery tool. The best way to think about it is it's kind of just an app that you open up. You can create a conversation, see the conversations that are going on around you, and if you want, you can jump into them. And we hope, and our hope is that people will jump in and want to hang out and actually become more social. What we don't want is for people, and we're not going to be able to control this, but we don't want people just to look at it and comment and be, assholes or whatever on social media. We want people to connect. So we're hoping that it does just that.
So we all remember ASL, right? Age, sex, location. Well, with NEAR, you can drop the L. So now it's age, sex, and what's even more mind-boggling is that even though you drop the location, now all of a sudden, you know that the people that you're talking to are nearby. And it actually creates even more questions if you think about it, because you're like, what I love about NEAR and what I don't like about many of the other dating apps is that they frequently tend to have either a map where there's faces on it or this weird kind of you can tell where someone is. I find that really, really strange and not something that's natural or organic. And the thinking behind NEAR is, when you meet someone new, it all starts with a conversation. So with NEAR, it's just we just wanted to easily for people to be able to start or join, conversations nearby. And it's done in a very non-invasive way. There's no map or anything like that. The only way that you would know that someone is nearby is if you can see here by how far the chat was created from you. So, like Kyle was saying, we're in Makati, right? What if when you start a conversation in NEAR right now, essentially when it opens up. When you start it, it's the radius that opens up is 100 kilometers, like 60 miles, right? And so for the first time ever, when you launch a conversation, anyone who's within that radius, you can now engage with, you can now talk to. But what if conversation I want to have or I'm looking for, I don't want to talk to someone 100 kilometers away, or I'm not interested in that. But we have a proximity sort of filter. So you can say, I only want to talk to people or see what conversations are happening within 1 kilometer. Well, you can easily do that. And then all of a sudden the conversations become way more relevant to what you're doing, to what you want to do, or what you're looking to do, or simply just be inspired or just looking for that serendipity in your life, that curiosity to see what are people doing nearby.
So that all sounds good, yeah, but what about practical uses? So we see it being used in a lot of different ways. One way is if you go back to the stories we were talking about being in China or being in Japan. If you were just a traveler, you touched down in Manila, you wanted to have a drink with somebody but didn't know a soul. You might open up the app, say, hey, just landed in Manila, would love to have a drink with anybody. Or where should I go? Yeah, that's how desperate I am. Right. So it's a tool that can help you connect with people, and we think that travelers use it a lot. Another way we see it being used.
So who likes going to music festivals? 7107, anybody? Coachella? Burning Man, anyone? Hey. So imagine that you're at 7107, right? I think Kendrick Lamar was there last year. What if, the festival ends, it's like the first festival that's come to Manila, you're like, man, I want to keep going. Where's the after party at? What if you could pull up NEAR? And this kind of leading to maybe some of the more monetization that we're thinking about. What if there was a San Miguel sponsored chat for Kendrick Lamar after party? First, 250 people to join the chat are able to find out where it is. And then all of a sudden, it starts to spread. But it's these type of serendipitous moments where you pull up NEAR. Maybe you're bored, you pull it up where it's like, boom, that's going on, where you can find out about a party or, maybe like a Kickstart Raid the Fridge event. Okay, never mind.
It's already crowded.
So here's another big idea that I'm actually actively pursuing right now. I met Richard Branson 5 years ago while I was working for Lonely Planet. I pitched him on an idea. He loved it. And I I've been waiting for a reason to get back in touch with him again. So Virgin America, they do these Coachella flights in April. And I thought, when I'm at the airport, or when we're all at the airport, there's so many interesting people that are traveling. You meet so many cool people, but what if I can meet more cool people? Or what if we happen to be going to the same, not just destination, but event? And so, what if you have a layover in LA, you're going to Coachella, you're from New York, and you see other people, dressed up in their party gear, and you're like, I want to talk to them, but I don't have enough confidence to go up. There's like a group of people, there's one of me. What if I pull up near and create a SFO to Palm Springs? I'm on this flight, going to Coachella, and all of a sudden I start talking to people. And then I arrange this, like, anyone want to get a happy hour or go to the bar next door and at the airport, and all of a sudden you arrange this like impromptu get together. Maybe I'll meet a new friend or a new girl, or we happen to be like both wanting to go to like Calvin Harris. I have a girlfriend. Is this being recorded? So all of a sudden, like, I could have meet new friends where we're going to the same destination. So this is sort of the examples of the power of what New York can be from just a very simple idea of just having a conversation.
So we're realists. We don't think that this is going to change the world necessarily. And we thought about a lot of things surrounding this idea. So, for example, we asked the question, does this address an opportunity? We think so. I think that, as you've seen in the examples, like, it addresses a lot, probably the traveler, the adventurous type, the guy who's landing in a country he's never been to before and wants to make some new friends. So we think there's an opportunity there. Are we the first to try it? Definitely not. If you think about it, like Christian was saying, people hit him up on Twitter for drinks, yeah? Does anybody use Twitter to hit up people for drinks? Maybe? Kind of. Yeah, I hate them too. So, yes, there are tools out there that can allow you to do this sort of thing. In fact, on Facebook, you could do that if you wanted to. We look at it like, yes, that's true, but we're trying to create a tool that does just that and can separate itself because it's not a gigantic social network. It's just more disposable, something that you can use to meet new people, and just and only that.
Wait, real quick, I think Kyle just touched upon something that's really, really, like, incredible. Near is could be the very first social disposable network. Oh, disposable social network, right? I'm slightly dyslexic. Throw that out there.
Yeah, but another question is, will Near be a $1 billion idea? Maybe, probably not. I'll tell you, like, 99.5% probably no. If it does, fantastic. But we're not there for money anyways. We're doing it because we believe in the idea and that we would use it ourselves. And I think... Have you? Damn it. I'm caught. I'm not the first to say that. So we believe in the idea, and I think that's the most important thing. Will we be successful? What do you think? Yeah. What do you think? No. You know what? Like, me and Dip talk about this kind of thing all the time. I don't know. Like I said, there's like a slim chance in this world of technology that people will even understand what we're doing, see the vision, and join us. But we like to think that we will definitely be successful. The reason being is, even if we're not successful with this idea, even if this idea tanks and nobody ever hears about it, this is the first and last time anybody talks to us, we'll change the idea and try something different. And I know that a lot of you guys in the room are probably along the same sentiment, right? Because you guys have your own ideas, and you'll change them if they're not working. Am I right? Anybody? Cool. Right on. So I would say we'll definitely be successful one way or another. And just to go back to the original question, could we see ourselves launching anywhere else but Manila? But Manila.
We definitely had an opportunity to launch in Tokyo. We easily have an opportunity to launch in Silicon Valley or LA. The reason why we chose Manila, it's the people, it's the culture, social, incredibly social. I think also having, Christian and Kickstart here, look at the startup community, you guys came out in droves tonight, really, really appreciate that. But this is exactly what I was talking about. Manila is actually, if you think about it, it's the old pawn hopper, right? It was the gateway to Asia. And we have, what our thinking is how can we leverage, our unfair advantages? And honestly, everyone in this room has the same unfair advantage. And the same unfair advantage that I had, it's getting on the plane, getting out of home, and showing up. 90% of it is showing up. Just get on the plane.
You didn't write that.
Yeah. You know, and that's what I did. I went to Tokyo, I didn't know anyone, and now I'm here standing in front of you with Kyle, presenting a new product. So that's a piece of advice.
So with that, again, we wanted to thank you so much for having us here tonight. Thank you to Kickstart.
There's a sign-up sheet going around. Just put whether you have iOS or Android. But thank you so much. Like, this is awesome. Cheers. We're going to be launching in March, beginning of March, maybe even sooner if you guys sign up for the beta.
And we're looking for help. If you guys have any interest in what we're doing, we would love to talk to you guys. What do we need? We need everything you can imagine. But I think more than anything, we need people that believe in this idea and can help us make other people believe. Is that too vague, Christian? Okay. We also need developers, designers, city managers.
Yeah, just email us or just get in touch with us. Actually, can everyone just tweet to Christian, and then that way Christian will just pass them along.
Do you guys have any? Okay, thanks, Dip. Thanks, Kyle. Q&A. Any questions? I have one. Is it anonymous or is it? Do you sign up with some identity?
So that's a great question, Christian. Probably one of the best you've ever said. So Christian asked, is this an anonymous app or not? If you notice, Kyle and I never mentioned anonymous once. I think anonymous has a bad connotation. And what we want to do with Near is actually kind of follow the Twitter model, where, when I first started out using Twitter, I used my old AOL screen name, Dip Wonder, But over the past couple of years, I sort of feel more comfortable using Twitter, and I changed my Twitter ID to Dip Ghuman. And I thought, why couldn't I do the same thing with Near? There's no weirdness where you can see someone nearby or anything. I should feel confident with what I'm saying, how I'm using Near. I want to meet other people. If we can build the Near community to be just like the Twitter community in that they really care about it, where they find the value in it, this is what we want to strive towards. And we have some ideas of how we're going to do that. I'm not going to share that now, but we're gonna be very careful about how we roll out Near to the local community, and we certainly will be rolling out to the local community here today when we launch in a month's time. So please sign up again.
Next question. Can you stand up so we can hear you?
Hi, my name is Michael. So your app is about conversations based on the location, right? Yes. To build relationships because of those conversations.
Yes.
Now, in our society, there's what you call being chismoso.
Chismes. Gossip?
Gossip. I know. It is we have a very big problem. So, do you think it can build better relationships in your neighbor, or it will make it worse?
Do you think? I have a counter question. Do you think chismes is a problem? Does it exist? Is it a negative thing, or because it exists everywhere in the world?
Yeah,
in your neighborhood, in your house, in your apartment block, you just go down and the security guard will tell you the latest news, right? Before Rappler and Philippine Inquirer pick it up, right?
Yeah.
but it's different.
No, I guess the question is it a negative thing for you, or is it are you worried that it gets out of control?
Yeah, that's what I worry about.
That's a good question. Thank you. I think to answer that, we don't know how people may or may not use it. I mean, right now we're just hoping we get anybody using the app, right? But we have no way to predict how people will use it. If they were to use it for chismes, that would be fine, and that's what they do. What we're trying to do is promote it and position it in such a way that people use it more positively, just to meet up, to travel, the more positive aspects of it. Just because chismes and gossip, well, everyone's all about it, we don't want to stand for that.
If you want to gossip, there's secret. There's Yik Yak, but not yeah. There's apps for that already. Next question. Yes, sir. Can everyone please quiet down? I'm,
Like the other social media, you have to sign in, for example, Facebook, so that in, let's say, 100 kilometers, you have friends of whether Facebook, Twitter, they are there, then you connect, and then there are people that can.
so your question is the login flow. You know, what are we going to be using for login? Facebook, Twitter, or and then nearby. Will we reveal that? That's a great. Did I get it right? Yeah. So I think the way that we're doing it right now, at least for Manila, is that we're going to allow for either Twitter or Facebook login. Initially, to start the app, all we're going to be doing is sort of validating, whether or not you can either people want to talk to each other nearby. But you'll be able to, just like AOL, Instant Messenger, you can start to create a buddy list. So by using Facebook or Twitter, we're still working out the mechanics, but we want you to still be able to talk to your friends. Let's say if you're flying to Hong Kong and you see Christian there, you'll be able to see, maybe Christian's in Hong Kong. We're still working out the mechanics there, but certainly something that we're thinking about.
Any other question?
Yeah. So how do you sift the people that are gonna come? Because as a female, it might be dangerous. So how do you, for example, choose? Because like in Tinder, you can choose, albeit very superficially, who you're gonna meet or get to know. I mean, this, like, if I just send out a radar, like everybody come here, and I could be in danger.
Right. No, that's a good point. Like, I didn't get your name, but if you created a conversation, right, and you arrange for a meetup, you don't really know who's gonna show up, right? So I mean, it's just like using Twitter or using Facebook to do group meetups. It's the same sort of basic principle. Like, be careful about what you share online. I think that's there's so many different meetups. You can use meetup.com. It's near could be used as a meetup. It could be used for many different purposes.
Specifically, like, can I say, can you call everyone who, let's say, likes the color pink or believes in God, or is, for example, a Christian, or can I narrow it down? And what are the parameters that we can search people with? So, like, I want to meet someone who's, like, let's say, 200 pounds heavy. And I want everyone in this radius to come to me.
Yeah. Those are all great ideas and great concerns. The filter system that you're talking about, a little bit more sophisticated than what we're doing initially for the launch, but definitely something we've thought about.
Because that could be like a positive thing for me.
Yeah.
For example, if you're Indian, are you Indian?
Yeah, I'm Indian.
Sorry.
Mumbai.
I want to meet people from India here, and you can search, and those are the people that you come up with. So that way you can find commonalities anywhere.
I think that's great, and that's something we'll look at as the app develops. To your first question about the internet and people using it for weird things, I think that we all know that the internet is kind of a weird and creepy place, and there's always going to be crazy and weird people on it.
At least they can like categorize it, like, okay, who's into S&M?
Yeah. Man, this keeps getting better. it went from a very innocent question to like sort of like, but what if you're into S&M? All right. No, that's right. You're absolutely right. We'll look into that. Thank you for that.
Any other question? All right, let's round up. Thank you, guys.
All right.
There's still beer and food, and don't forget the most important rule of the Raid the Fridge: you have to meet 10 people. When is our next Raid the Fridge? February 26th, we have the next Raid the Fridge coming up. All right. Grab a beer, grab some food, mingle with the people. Thanks, guys.